Welcome back to Tamakoa Homestead. We are building a homestead from scratch out in the beautiful, rugged, arid Klein Karoo in South Africa, nestled at the foot of the majestic Swartberg Mountains. We're in the process of setting up a self-sufficient fruit orchard that will give us fruit year-round. We're also building our own home, a little house, cabin, tiny house, whatever you want to call it, that me and my family can spend quality time together as we continue on this journey towards a self-sufficient, meaningful, and more purpose-driven life. Today, we are continuing the house build. What's on the list for today is pretty big. There is one structural beam that needs to go in the middle. It's a big beam. It's 228 by 100 millimeters. So there's two 50 beams that need to be mounted together. I'm going to do it one by one. The reason why I couldn't do that first is because the beam needs to sit under the joists, and the joists are sitting higher than the rim beams that are 228. The joists are 152. So I needed to get the joists in to be able to get the positioning, because I need to notch the main support beam in the middle to be able to sit in line with the 228s, but then also support the joists above. That's going to be one of the primary weight-bearing beams of the house, because it's going to be the middle wall. The roof span, the roof trusses, roof rafters are going to sit on that wall as well. So I need to get that right. I also want to get all the boards on. And yes, you might be rightfully thinking, where are my blockers? You're right. But you don't need blockers if you have your joists closer together. So I've put my joists really close. They're 425 millimeters on center. I don't know what inches are, I'll put it on the screen. And I've done that for strength, but also to remove the extra work. So anything under 450 millimeters, you don't need blocking. There's a center beam. I'll put hurricane clips onto the center beam from each joist to give it stability. But the floor is 18 mil structural OSB. And there's overlap on the beams, on the joists. So the OSB boards are going to be holding all the joists in place. They're not going to move. I'm also going to be placing them 10 centimeters apart, the screws. So this floor is going to be rock solid. Narrow joists, narrow screwing for the floor. Everything is going to be really awesome. So that's the task for today. It's only two things, but it's a lot of work. And then of course, once the beautiful OSB is down, I need to get it all wrapped up in a plastic top. And I'll put some Rika blocks on it to weigh it down. But first, before we get into this, I have two new beautiful trees that need to go into the ground. They are Newell's clementines. They are, I love them. And they look absolutely luscious and beautiful. So I need to get these two into the ground. The irrigation is working incredibly well. But what I'm going to do is, as soon as those go into the ground, I'm going to take my phone. I'm going to pull up and activate my homestead tracking app. And I'm going to put today's date as the planting date for these Newell's clementine citrus trees. Then I know I don't need to worry about remembering when I planted it. And then I can plan 6 weeks from now, do a light fertilizer. I can give them a little bit more water, a little bit more food as they adjust. But this homestead tracking app is going to be the foundation for the entire fruit orchard's success in the years to come. But enough waffling, let's go planting and let's start building. Okay, I made really good progress, but I cannot explain to you how heavy that beam is. I think I've said it before, it's 228 by 50 by 6 meters. It's quite a beast of a beam. So what I've done is, in the previous episode, well no, this morning, I can't remember, I explained to you the height difference. So there you can see the post is now in, it's rock solid. And there's a gap there for the joist. But I need to still get the measurements in terms of just where it's going to be. I can always just lift the pole a little bit. That's the nice thing about anchoring it in with stone, is you can still move it a bit. But only if you have hard, rocky clay soil like I do. I need to figure out how to notch this so it's sitting against the joists on the underside, but then just slightly catching the lip, because this beam needs to support this rim joist plus all the inside joists. That's going to be a fun one to do, but I'm making good progress. It's looking good. I did it. Okay, that was I've been dreaming about this for a long time in terms of how to do this. So I am so glad that this idea that I had of putting straps around the joists and then feeding it through, it means I'm never picking up the plank. As you could see, I could pull the whole thing off until one side, and then one side's on the ground, pick up the one side, feed it through the loop, and the loop is carrying the weight, feed it through, and it's worked incredibly well. The beam is in, double beam. So now what needs to happen is I've got bolts, and I need to bolt the two together because they're a little bit, you know, that's what 6 meter boards do. They move around a bit. So I need to bolt them together. And then remember I said there's a gap. I'm trying to get you to see. So there's a gap between the joist and the beam. And I measured, and thank goodness it is exactly, what is it? 36, no? 36, 72. It's exactly 72. I wanted to use purlins just to put on top, but the purlin was a little bit too thick. So I tried two 38 by 38s, 36 by 36s, because they slimmed down, they planed, and it fits perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I've got 114 by 36s, and the 114s will cover the 100 width, plus a little bit on each side. So I'm going to put two of those on top of the beam inside the joist area, which in my mind is going to give it even more structural integrity, because I'm not needing to cut this beam to notch it to fit in here, which would reduce the weight bearing on this one. Plus I'm adding 2 additional layers of wood on top of the 228 beam, which means it's going to be almost 300 beam, which will make it even stronger. So I'm so glad this is all working out. Yeah, I thought it's going to be backbreaking. Turns out it's not. You've got to use what's up here every now and then things work. But let's get this bolted, get those shimmies in there, and I can get the floor and I'm done. So really cute, really excited about this. So now I'm on my final push. I've had to put something else on. So now I'm like fully in green. It's been quite hard. But I needed to get arms covered, neck covered. I've drenched myself with some water. It is cooking today. Hardly a breath of wind. But yes, got that final rim beam in there. It's notched nicely, sitting on the joist, sitting on the beams. The middle beam, double beam is in. Everything is done. This is so cool. And now is the glorious part. Now it is getting OSB on. First thing, I'm going to lay it out. I'm using an offset pattern, so two length, right, how am I going to explain this? Two like this, one like that. Two like this, one like that, two like that. So they're interlocking, which should add additional strength. The joists I've tested very briefly should work with overlaps. That's how I've planned it. The last little push, let's get there. My dear friends, that's all I have energy for today. 2 out of 10. The problem is, when you stand in midday heat here in the Karoo with nothing over you, and you just bake in the sun because you have to sit on the boards and put in all the screws, I can literally feel myself overheating, and I know my limits. I've been out here too many times where I've just been exhausted. So it's all good. These boards are incredible. They are so solid. They look so good. They've added so much rigidity to the house floor. What I'm going to do now rather is the remaining boards over there, I'm just going to slide them on top of this. I have an excessive amount of drop sheet, plastic ones, so I'm going to put them there. I'm going to wrap them up so they can't get wet. And then next time I come through, I'll come through early enough and then make sure I've got gazebos, things like that, that I can keep myself covered. Or just choose a cool day, not a windless, boiling hot day like today. So thank you for joining me on this very, very, very exciting step. The floor is done, well, partially all the floor frame is done. 2 out of the 10 boards are done, so please consider subscribing if you want to see what this floor is going to look like in terms of an actual house build. I have some awesome insights as to how I'm going to build a house to get the best bang for buck in terms of protecting me from the heat so the house doesn't get hot. But you're going to have to stick around for that. I hope you all have a wonderful time living out your own journey and your own dreams. Until next time, happy homesteading.